Greetings, I'm Jake at Minds Active, and this is a demo of Synergy, which is a tool that lets us use natural language to modify reasonably complex programs. So we're looking at a valley scene, and I've pulled this in. It's based on work from Pixar, but it's our own valley that is, we're going to look at the information and modify. So imagine you are somebody making a presentation, maybe for school, for work, maybe somebody who is just playing around with a synthetic world. Visuals are some of the easiest examples because everybody can get it. But everything I'm going to show you applies to abstract data, and almost any type of behavior you might encounter in a computer can all be mapped with Synergy. So keep that in mind. But first, we've got an interface because this is still a little bit in progress. I want to prove to you everything that's happening is happening. Up top, I'm going to type in dialogue, and I can do this with voice. I have in previous demos. I'm not tonight, just because it makes it simpler for me to type while I'm talking and I don't get confused. But if anybody's curious, we can certainly verify that that actually works fairly well. So one of the interesting things with Synergy is we don't have to remember all possible commands or where something was in a menu or go searching for stuff. We can just kind of ask, start a dialogue, and we can, whatever we type up here, like, tell me about this valley, we'll get some possibilities, what it thinks I'm understanding. So the word tell, oh yeah, tell me about, sure, and valley, oh, there's a jungle valley, there's a Jungle Valley Conjure. Oh, there's the Pixar one. That's the guy that we're talking about.
Tell me
So
about this valley.
so she understands and she responds. This is kind of her section over here, and there's some information for us to look at. And why don't we play with it? Why don't we change things around? Perhaps for the purpose of our presentation, or perhaps we're going to link it to some other data, like stock market data, live values on a web page, camera, music in the background, whatever that might be. But let's change it manually so we get a good sense of how this works. So perhaps we pick something like cloud speed. It's pretty straightforward. And one of the things, we don't have to add a new word, but I'm going to bring the point home. You can see down there, cloud speed, and it says average. There was also a percentage number. Everything always has many different ways we can express it. But the first thing we might want to do with cloud speed is, let's call that windy or something. Means cloud speed. So I'm letting Synergy know if I'm talking about windy, it means cloud speed, and means there's a lot of different ways that could show up. And what you're seeing is me looking at what she thinks I might mean. 99% she's sure that's the case, but I want to make sure you get a sense there's no gimmicks going on. So we pick that, and
windy means cloud speed.
All right, so she knows. So if I say more windy, she now and let's look. Did she get the word windy? Yes, she did. So she definitely thinks that's what we mean.
More windy.
So we'll do it even a little more. So we can see those clouds are moving. I didn't need to figure out programming. I didn't need to find a slider and work with numbers, although we can turn this into a slider with just another piece of English. I'll show that at a different time. Let's just stay with some basic words. So maybe that's a little too fast. Maybe I want to have it less windy, let's start with
less
that,
windy.
and slow it down a little bit, or maybe the least windy.
Least windy.
So nobody's really moving. And in fact, let's go back about that valley. About that Pixar valley. Let's see what other things could we play with in there. So we're going to ask her.
Pixar.
Right. I didn't even say the word valley. She's still, easy for her to make that match. Maybe want to go with sun height or tree cover, perhaps. Um, let's try that, and let's give it a name. Again, we could just use tree coverage or any of the synonyms that are already baked in for the words tree and coverage. But let's call it foliage. It's a little more proper. Foliage means tree cover. I think that should suffice. She doesn't need it to match coverage. It can just fit right there. So.
Foliage means tree cover.
All right, so I think we got that. So let's have less foliage. And let's see, did she understand foliage? Yeah, she did. We're all good.
Less foliage.
So if you look in this picture, you should see it going right down. Okay, maybe we got rid of that. Why don't we move it back up to the most possible foliage.
Most foliage.
All right, we'll just leave it nice and dense. And hopefully you're getting the sense. The reason for doing this, the use case, is not just
it's 2 hours.
Low memory. Sorry, that's a clock in the background. It's not just that you might forget something or it's hard to find. It's how much time does it take to make a change? How much effort do you need to put in to modify a program, to alter something? In this case, we just have a visual example, but for any part of a program, the behavior, that's really the value of what that program does. Finding whether you're a really technical, super awesome programmer or a really casual user or somebody who even doesn't like computers, you still have to figure out, well, where's the thing I'm going to change and how do I do it and what are the other options and what else is related. And that's what Synergy is about, connecting you to that process. So if I go back to about our valley, right? And because I said valley and I haven't already told her that this is always a Pixar one, she's guessing, but she's guessing as the number 2 over there. But so we got this.
Valley.
And one of the other things too, you can see, you know, our tree coverage is expressed as the word overgrown trees, as a percentage. There's a square density item. There's many different ways we can express it, because Synergy lets us take any piece of data and translate it into another one. As long as they have something in common or some way to understand each other, they can keep propagating. So for these 4 here, we have 4 other versions. You know, real simple map, but something everybody can understand. We haven't played with turbulence. Why don't we try the last one, and then we could play with all 3. So turbulence, that's kind of a big word. Why don't we call that ominous? Yeah, ominous means turbulence. Let's go with that. So
ominous means turbulence.
Right, and perhaps we'll say about like a bit more ominous. I think that would be a
more ominous.
All right. And so you can really see those clouds moving. That's changing, and maybe we want to increase the speed, right? What did we call the speed? Windy? Was that what it was? Wind? I think it was something like that. Let's look. Yeah, windy. There we go. So let's make it more windy. Yeah, there we go. Very fast. In fact, let's just go with the fastest. So now those clouds are really moving, and they're fairly turbulent. I've probably said enough, and hopefully you got a good sense that what we are doing is letting you access a whole range of behaviors. And this does include logic, you know, like if clouds fall, those trees should get wet, or if there's a fire, we should have smoke, or you know, starting to create other conditions. If some value goes over 3, do this, say this word, make this change. The whole sense of writing behavior, looking at that behavior while it's happening, being able to share with other people, it's all packaged in Synergy. And actually that's a good point too. So you know, maybe I want to take a screenshot or a snapshot. Okay, look, there's that. So we'll take one, and why don't we email this? Because one of the interesting this convo, right? One of the interesting things is Synergy's just text. It's natural English text, or however we want to write it. So if I want to package this up, I can share it with others, just in a text, in an email. And let's take a look at that. So I'm going to pull up
Email this convo.
an email. All right, let me just bring this guy over, and you should be able to see now. Our app froze because we left to use the external. We packaged it in the external email because that's what's approved. But you can see all the text that we had captured there and a screenshot ready to go. Somebody else can just cut and paste that right into this section. In all cases, thanks for watching. I'm excited to show the next steps with object recognition, interacting with the web, and making more complex behaviors, perhaps some games or simulations as well. Thanks so much.